Hey guys, have you been wondering where we've been and maybe what we've been up to? Let's get caught up in this episode of the Weekly Walkthrough. Hey everybody, it's Bubba with X's 4x4 and we build badass 4x4s. It's time for another weekly walkthrough, and I know it's been a while, but the last time we did this, we thought it'd be a great idea. And then the next week came along and the same Jeeps that were there before were still there, and it's obvious because sometimes these take a little bit longer than just a week to do. So we held off, we did a lot of work, we got a lot of stuff knocked out and out of the shop, and as we're starting to catch up around here, I figured it's time to pick up the videos again. So we're gonna start off with a brand new 2024 Mojave that's getting a 392. Now, this Jeep is literally brand new. It's only got 56 miles on it. Now, we've had some pretty new ones in here with paper plates before, but nothing this new. I think the newest one we had maybe had 100 miles on it or something like that, but this is pretty fresh. I think the engine's already sold, so anybody that's looking for that fresh drivetrain, it's gone. But back to the build. Actually, this one and that one, we'll talk about that one in a minute, but this is a father and son build. A couple of guys out of Arizona. They hit me up a couple months ago and said they've been doing really good and they wanted to reward themselves, so here they are. This one's a 24 Mojave. It's getting a 392 and Currie 60 axles, 8 lugs, not the 5 lugs, but they went all the way with the Currie 60s on this one. It's also, because it is a Mojave, and this is what I like to do on Mojaves, it is getting an Evo 2.5-inch lift, spec'd for the diesel, because I like the spring rates better for the Hemis, and 2.5-inch shock extensions, so we're not wasting that premium suspension that a lot of you guys buying Mojaves are paying for. It's not a very complicated build, but it is a very badass build. Maybe a couple more things that are getting thrown on this build, but the meat and potatoes of it is going to be a 392 with 60s, 37-inch KO2s to round it out. So nonetheless, one of my favorite builds is a Mojave with a 392, simple suspension upgrade. A lot of times just keep it factory axles, but this time we're building in some insurance with those 60s. I think he's gonna love this build. So let's walk over here and check out his son's. This is a 24 392. He is doing a lot of different modifications on this, and I'm gonna miss probably over half of them in this video, but as you can see, he's getting a different suspension and axles in this one. He's actually getting the Currie 60s just like his dad's Jeep is, but for the JL, not the JT. I want to say he's getting an Evo long arm suspension with King coilovers. Don't think he went with the SDIs on this one, but he may down the road. But we're keeping the coilovers and long arms pretty simple in this one, Currie 60s. I do believe he is running 40-inch trail grapplers, or maybe he's just running 38s. I think he's doing 38s actually, 38-inch trail grapplers. Nonetheless, he's putting a really badass tire on here. I think he's getting raceline wheels also. I probably should have read up a little bit more on it before we started about it, but it's just really awesome to see a brand new, really nice, insanely nice, the 24 392s are really nice. Just seeing something like that torn down and getting all the beef put in it to make sure that it's gonna be pretty much bulletproof when it goes off-road. And so much so that you can see the transfer case sitting back there on the guy's work table. We're actually converting the all-wheel drive transfer case over to a standard, 272 sport transfer case. That way he's not gonna have the all-wheel drive issues that a lot of these guys run into when they get out on the trails. So really nice build. He's getting a lot of GenRight on it. Got a JCR rack on it. Those are really, really nice and well put together and easy to install. So if you guys are ever looking for a roof rack that is nice, easy to put together and functional, then the JCR roof rack is definitely one that you want to check out. But yeah, lots of really good quality parts on this. And normally we do Baja design light packages. This one is getting a total KC light package on it. So we're more familiar running the Baja design stuff on it. And this time we're doing stuff a little bit different. We stepped out, we connected with KC. So we're gonna start doing more KC lights alongside the Baja design stuff. So that's what pretty much wrap up this build. A lot of really good quality parts going into this. We were gonna do tube fenders on this, but I talked him into doing just fender chops on the factory fenders that are on here now, because I really like the way that looks. It's a very clean look. I mean, there's some of the stuff that you get too far away from the OEM and it just looks out of place. But on this one, considering everything else that we're doing on it, I thought the fender chop on it would look good with I forget what light we're putting in there. I think it's Quake, but it does look good. So let's move on down to this one in Bay 3. This is another 24 Wrangler 392. Before I go any further, if you guys haven't seen the axles that come on the 24 Wrangler 392s, they're pretty awesome. I really, really like what Jeep or Spicer did there, where the whole unit bearing brake hub assembly bolts in as one unit. You got a single axle shaft now that doesn't have any flanges on it. Very cool axle packages. I like them a lot.
I like it a lot.
This one did not get 60s. Instead, he went with the 74 weld portals on it. I've stressed this in some of our portal axle videos. We only sell 74 weld, but it's a really nice way on a 392 to get the ride height that you want to run 40s, 38s if you want. This customer's choosing to run 38s. It's a really nice way to get the Jeep up high enough to run that size tire without sacrificing the factory ride quality that they're putting in from the factory. The suspension's actually really nice. It rides well. So why get rid of it, right? The 74 weld portals let you do that. He's doing the road armor fenders on it. What's nice about the road armor fenders, they're not exactly my cup of tea. I don't like the angles. I like the rounded tube style. It's just more traditional off-road look to it for me. But what's nice about the road armor fenders, particularly here you can see, is how they come out far enough to, even with the portals, because remember, if you watch those videos, the portals are gonna add 3.5 inches per side to the track with the vehicle. And so, you know, a lot of times you'll get a lot of poke is what people call it, where the tires stick out further than the fenders. In this case, with the road armor fenders, and it may look a little bit exaggerated in this photo, it may stick out a little bit further than this, but the track bar is actually swinging it towards the driver's side right now. But it does a good job of covering up more than what the factory fenders would do. So maybe not my cup of tea, but it definitely fits the build that he's doing right here. He either did a matte finish or a PPF wrap on it. I can't tell the difference really, or I haven't looked at it hard enough. But LOD bumpers, front and rear, nice looking Jeep. He did raceline wheels. On a lot of our portal packages, I like to pair the Rhino beadlocks because they're forged and they have that plus 25 offset. This customer chose to have them powder coated red and black, and I wasn't sure about it in the beginning, but I really like the way they look. I haven't seen Rhinos done that way before, and they look good. What else we got going on here? He's got a Warren Xeon winch. We did amp power steps on this one. I'm not sure why he did that, but again, it sort of follows the rest of the look of the Jeep. This customer's definitely got a particular taste, right? These LOD bumpers have a lot of angles built into them, just like the road armor fenders. And if you look at the amp power steps that are on here, same thing, they're very angular. It all flows together very well. Even though it may not be the choices I would have made for this Jeep, they do work well together. So that is that Jeep. The red TJ is still here. We'll talk about it some more one day, but thank you for zooming past that. So here's one that I really want to talk about in this video. He dropped this Jeep off back in, I want to say May or June. It was a while back. It was like the beginning of the summer sometime. And the joke, I even had decals made. We forgot to put them on for the video, but I had IKEA decals made for this. We call it the IKEA Jeep because literally when he pulled up here, he had an enclosed trailer. It was like a 50-foot, what was it? It was a long trailer. We had to roll the Jeep out. It barely had the axles held into it. It had ropes tied to the steering knuckles to keep the wheels straight because the drag link, well, I don't think there was a steering gearbox bolted to the frame. Everything was in pieces. He showed up with an entire GenRight JK Elite suspension package, okay? With the Mickey Thompsons on the trail ready beadlocks. It's just scattered in pieces. It took us a couple days to inventory all the parts and make sure we had everything there. Calling GenRight, getting some of the missing pieces that, well, he probably left them somewhere. Getting those sent over to us so that we could, you know, have everything complete when we started. I just threw it in Jacob's lap and I said, have at it, man. Jacob did an amazing job putting this Jeep together. And I gotta say, I've seen a lot of GenRight JK's suspension, the Tracer suspensions and the LJs, and I knew their work was good. When we put this Jeep together, by the time we were done, like I understood the hype around GenRight products and GenRight suspension. I mean, I know GenRight products are good because we install a lot of their bumpers and other components, but this is the first time we ever did a full GenRight suspension build, and it was amazing. I mean, it's a beast of a machine now. Well, the reason he brought it to us for the suspension to be installed was because we were gonna do an LT with 10-speed conversion in this as well, which we did. We fought it a lot. We learned a lot about the LT 10 speeds while we were doing this, particularly about the transmission. because he wanted an engine conversion done and he wanted the suspension installed, he brought it to Exodus. And I gotta say, like, Jacob really killed it on this. He did a really, really good job. And I'm very proud of him for what he did on this Jeep.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
We've flexed it out. We've driven it on the road. I mean, I know they're expensive, guys, but that suspension absolutely is killer. And anybody would be lucky to have that suspension. He went all the way on this too. He did the 3-inch King internal bypass coilovers on it. It's no joke. You get this thing out on the road, it rides like a dream. I can only imagine that when it finally gets off-road, it's just gonna be incredible. I don't know, I can't say it's amazing enough times. We did a really good job on the engine skid plate for this because it doesn't exist. Scott Roberts, he does a lot of work. He doesn't like to be called an engineer, but he does a very good job of building things. And he designed a skid plate for this that the guys were able to fabricate and weld in, and it looks amazing. Like it's gonna be amazing off-road. I've said that so many times already, but it's really great. I'm very proud of this build. I kind of want one for myself. Now let's head on down to Bay 4. This is an interesting Jeep. Been talking about this Jeep for a couple of years because a customer called me a couple of years ago and we started working this out. This isn't something that we normally do.
What would you say you do here?
It may scream mall crawler to you, to those of you that are looking at it right now. In reality, this thing's got a really nice suspension in it. We did Evo long arm kit, but we did an AccuTune suspension, AccuTune 2.5-inch Fox DSCs. Dialed in, it's valved, everything according to what we built. We've got an LT with an 8-speed in it. We've got Currie HD axles, so they're the 5 lugs. We powder coated the frame. So we did all the suspension work as far as welding in brackets for the control arms and for the coilovers. Everything was completely done as far as welding, cutting and welding goes on the frame. And then we sent the frame out to be powder coated red. I can't promise, but I'm pretty sure we will never do that again.
This team will never lose again.
Then the body got sent out to get repainted. I'm not even sure what color this is because I had the owner of the Jeep actually coordinate that with the paint shop. I want to say it's schnozberry. It's very close to schnozberry, maybe a little bit darker. It's kind of like a Dr. Pepper feel to me. I like it more than I thought I would like it. I'm not a fan of the wheels. They're definitely not my flavor. But with Maxxis razors, those are great tires. I've ran those on my JK. Amazing tire. I think they look amazing. They're badass. If I was not going to run Nitto trail grapplers on any Jeep that I own, my next choice would probably be those tires right there because they look so killer and they perform really well off-road. But yeah, he's got the LT with the 8-speed transmission in it, Currie HD axles, AccuTune oiler. It rides really, really good. You know, I wouldn't say it's the best riding suspension we ever built. I think if I was going to take it up another notch, I'd probably add the E-Click to it. I just want to put E-Click on everything because it's that good. But you know, like I said, it may scream mall crawler to you, but it's a pretty sweet Jeep. Throw beadlocks on that thing and it'll off-road with the best of anything out there. So really cool Jeep. I'm really excited about that. We did we did a Fiberworks grill in it too. So it doesn't have a JK grill anymore. It has a fiberglass grill that looks like a JL. Fitment is pretty good. It does stick out a little bit further than, you know, what I thought it would, but we even had all the Smitty built bumpers front and rear repowder coated to gloss black. And I know a lot of you are probably watching this. I didn't sell them Smitty built bumpers. It was already on there. He even has a Poison Spider tire carrier on the back of this. I think we were able to grab some more Poison Spider parts. It seems like they're drying up out there and we were able to get those. You know, I think that brand is totally dead now. I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's pretty dead. Overall, yeah, it's a pretty Jeep on the outside. And a lot of people might scoff at it, but it's still, if you look at the bones of this Jeep, it's a pretty badass build underneath there. So definitely not something we're used to doing, but it's cool. Think about what else is going in this shop right now. The Bronco is for sale. I've had a lot of people ask me what we're doing next, and I don't really want to say because I really want the Bronco to sell before the other thing shows up. But, you know, at some point we'll just, even if the other thing shows up, we're still going to get it. I just would prefer the Bronco sell before then. If you're interested in the Bronco, let me know. This thing has been...
That was amazing!
I know! I turned left!
I know a lot of you Jeep guys and girls are gonna probably hate me for saying this, but I really enjoyed driving this thing. I really enjoyed building it. I didn't realize how much we had built it until I made the for sale post and I started going through all the things that we had done to it. I'd be hard pressed to find another Bronco out there that's built as this one is. I don't think you can outperform this Bronco unless you were to get a Bronco Raptor, really. It is priced at $67,500, and the reason for that is because if I priced it any lower, I'd be ashamed of selling it for that price. It being that would be a really ridiculous price to sell something this well built and this custom for any less than that. If I ask for any more than that, I think that, you know, now the logic of saying I would assume just buy a Bronco Raptor at that point, and I get that. In reality, I mean, this thing does everything. We took it to Baja, it freaking killed. I've taken this thing to Sand Hollow, it rock crawled, and that was before portals. If I had portals on that in Sand Hollow at Trail Hero last year, this thing would have been almost unstoppable. That's kind of the Bronco's problem, right? It'll high center a lot sooner than, say, a Jeep would. But with the portals on there and a stock suspension, man, this thing rocks and rock crawls really, really well. And also, it still does go fast pretty well. I mean, like I said, I went down to Baja with this and I had zero issues going really fast through some really fun stuff in Baja. It's definitely a build worth considering if you guys are looking for something used to buy. I know you guys probably aren't interested in Broncos, but maybe somebody out there is. And if you are, that's a badass Bronco to buy. If you want more details on it, you can go on my Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. I've got pictures posted of it, way more pictures and a lot more details on it. So if you guys are looking for it, go there and check it out. You'll get all the details. I think a lot of what you're seeing in the shop will be gone next week. This red truck may still be here. The son's Jeep, the 392, should be gone. I know the black one, black 24 392 is gonna be gone. That guy should be gone. That one's probably gonna be around for a little bit longer. Jerry's having a hard time getting down here for it. He lives a few states over. That's gonna wrap it up for this weekly walkthrough. If you guys want more information on any of the builds in here, make sure you hit us up in the comments. We'll probably do a more in-depth walk around on some of these as they get done, and we'll put those videos out as well. For more information and videos on off-roading, just other cool videos in general of what we do here, click here.